LSAC has finally released the testing dates for the 2024-2025 law school admissions cycle. Of course, we have the April LSAT and the June LSAT already on the calendar. Those are from the current cycle. The testing dates starting in August are for the upcoming testing cycle. We've got August, September, October, and November this year. Then we have January, February, April, and June next year for the remainder of the cycle. Now let's get into the specific dates for each of those test administrations. The August LSAT will be conducted over August 7th through 10th, with the August LSAT score release on August 28th. We have the September LSAT administered over the 4th through the 7th, with score release on September 25th. We have the October LSAT on the 1st and 2nd, then again on the 4th and 5th. It will not be administered on the 3rd at all, with score release on October 23rd. The November LSAT will be on the 6th through the 9th, with score release on November 27th. The January LSAT will be on the 15th through the 18th, with score release on February 5th. We have the February LSAT on the 7th through the 8th, with score release on February 27th. We have the April LSAT on the 10th through the 12th, with score release on April 30th. And we have the June LSAT on June 5th through 7th, with score release on June 25th. That was a lot, of course. I'll include all of these specific dates and details in the description below this episode. Now let's get into it, of course. All of these dates are going to be the new version of the LSAT without the logic games section. For those who aren't aware, LSAC is changing the LSAT after the June test. They are removing the logic game section and replacing it with a second scored logical reasoning section. So if you're taking the LSAT in August or beyond, you're going to have the new format, no games, a second logical reasoning, and then of course an extra unscored section of either logical reasoning or reading comprehension. Now note, for the August LSAT, the score release is August 28th. Law school applications typically open September 1st or September 15th. So if you take the August LSAT, you can still apply to law school at the very beginning of the cycle, the second applications open. If you feel like the June LSAT's not going to give you enough time to achieve your fullest potential, or if you just really don't like logic games and love logical reasoning, the August LSAT might be a better choice for you, and law schools, of course, will not care which version of the test you take. And of course, taking it in September, October, or November is totally fine. You can still apply perfectly early in the cycle. Even taking the LSAT in January or February would be fine as well. Most law schools will accept the results of the February LSAT, but note, the February LSAT score release date is February 27th, so you may want to contact specific law schools to ask them if they will still take the results of that test, given that it's a little bit later in the cycle. Now, registration for all of these testing dates opens in mid-May, so you can sign up and let them know you want to take it in a certain given testing month. But then when it comes to scheduling a specific date and time and choosing whether you want to take it remote or in person, that only typically opens a few weeks prior to each testing date through Prometric, which is the provider and administrator of the law school admissions test. Some other details regarding these LSAT testing dates: score releases are always on Wednesdays, and for most testing administrations, Friday and Saturday are the core testing dates, but when it's spread across 3 days, they typically extend to Thursday also, and when they're spreading the LSAT administration over 4 days, they typically extend to Friday also. Now, if you are outside the US and Canada, if you are a so-called international test taker, you are limited to specific dates. In that case, you can take it in October, January, April, and June specifically. They won't want you to take it on any of the other testing dates, even though, of course, the LSAT is offered online remotely from home. I'm not sure why they have that restriction. Maybe it has to do with time zone differences and such and when the proctors are available, but those are the rules. Don't violate them. You don't want to run into any issues, of course. One final thing I wanted to mention for those who aren't aware is that the LSAT writing sample is also changing. So if you are taking the LSAT in August or beyond, if you don't currently have a writing sample on file, you're going to be taking a new version of the LSAT writing sample where they're changing the format. They're going to make the prop more similar to ACT writing. It'll be a bit longer as well. I'll have a separate episode coming out on this tomorrow. With any questions, of course, feel free to drop a comment. And if you're taking the LSAT in August or later, you should be aware that LSAC removing logic games is not the only change coming to the LSAT, but rather they're also changing the LSAT writing sample at all. It'll still be unscored, but they're changing the nature of the prompt and giving you a bit more time to evaluate pieces of evidence before actually sitting down and writing the actual essay itself. I'll have a new episode coming out on this tomorrow. And by the way, if you're looking for support on the LSAT, whenever you're taking it, whether April, June, August, September, or beyond, there are a variety of ways that my team and I can help support you in achieving a top LSAT score. You can check out the links below this video to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And if you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. I don't do any advertising for the channel. I rely only on word of mouth to help get the word out, and your sharing this video really does make a difference. In the meantime, I wish you all the best, and take care.